2024 has been a haunting year for a couple of the big YouTubers, but for MrBeast and Logan Paul in particular, it's been one disaster after another. And the latest thing to go wrong for them is the Lunchly debacle. Some bad marketing targeted at kids, a cheap product meant to grift money out of their audience, and insecure responses to criticism meant to protect their fragile egos just serves as further proof of just how far out of touch these men are. 2024 has been MrBeast's worst nightmare, starting in June when his close friend and collaborator, Chris Tyson, was exposed for being a creep. Chris Tyson supported CPR. Then almost immediately, it was Dogpack who was exposing MrBeast for running illegal lotteries, faking his videos.
But this train track is CGI, these bus wheels are CGI, this explosion is fake, this shredder is CGI, this car is digitally lifted, this pit is fake, this guy is fake.
Using fake signature, hiring shady characters in the company, and mistreating multiple employees. As well as some of these employees are now coming forward to say that they were even being offered drugs so they could work crazy hours.
Always been the CEO of MrBeast.
To your knowledge, did you know about him offering substances to people to stay and work longer?
Yep, Adderall. There was a huge, I say huge, but it was all internal. There was a time in summer of 2020, it might have been fall, Adderall was being passed around the company. There were higher up employees that were offering it to other employees just so they could work all night and edit videos all night. So that way they could like stop complaining and stop sleeping. And it was investigated internally within the company, but how far does that go?
For Logan Paul, on the other hand, being at the center of controversy is nothing new. Ever since the Forest incident in Japan, he hasn't quite managed to keep his name out of the bad headlines despite his brand growing on a worldwide scale. Outside of his several legal issues that he has with Prime, he's also opened up an old can of worms recently by suing CoffeeZilla over his investigation into the alleged Crypto Zoo scam. A scam, by the way, that he still hasn't settled. And now, KSI, who has managed to be relatively drama-free, has now seen his name slowly dragged into the mud by repeatedly associating with Logan Paul. And off the back of the Lunchly drama, he has definitely done serious harm to his brand. But we'll get there in a minute. So KSI, alongside Logan Paul and MrBeast, collaborated to launch a brand new product called Lunchly, a primary children's lunch kit meant to be a direct competition for the extremely successful Lunchables. Jimmy, Logan, and KSI announced the launch in a hastily put together livestream.
Perhaps you are familiar with this product.
Oh my gosh.
Wow. Yeah. So if you look closely, this product has a candy, an entree, and a drink.
Wait. A drink?
A drink.
Some chocolate.
Yep, some chocolate.
This is something, we grew up eating. It's a thing.
It's a thing, but it's been around forever. We came together to create a Lunchables competitor featuring the fastest growing hydration beverage ever and the fastest growing candy ever. And so we did that. Ladies and gentlemen, we'd like to introduce you to Lunchly.
Oh my gosh.
It was pretty obvious that they put next to no effort into organizing this launch. If anything, they were primarily concerned with getting this news out so they can start making money on this. The comment section said the same, with one person replying, "You can't even joke about the irony of the three richest YouTubers collaborating, and this is the video quality." In a different video posted to Logan's Twitter, the three would do more marketing for Lunchly by directly comparing it to Lunchables and emphasizing that their product is healthier.
Lunchly versus Lunchables.
With Lunchly, you get double the amount of liquid.
Prime has no sugar added, more electrolytes, and more B vitamins.
Crunch Bar.
Whoa.
Feastables Crunch Bar. Our pizza uses real cheese. Theirs, as it says on their box, is mozzarella pasteurized prepared cheese product. They can't even call it real cheese. We're also 30 less calories, 3 less grams of fat, and 8 less grams of sugar. Turkey Stack-em, 310 calories.
230 calories.
21 grams of sugar.
Only 7 grams of sugar.
If you look at this close up, you can already tell which one has better ingredients. All right, we'll start off with the Lunchables.
Bro, I'm sorry, that's trash. All right, now we're trying Lunchly. Come on. We're not biased at all, but ours is way better.
Fiesta Nachos. 22 grams of sugar.
10 grams of sugar.
7 grams of protein.
9 grams of protein.
Come in close and look at the queso cheese in Lunchly versus whatever that is. Drip versus stick. I like my cheese drippy, bro. This is a Lunchly salsa right here. Look at the consistency, the texture. And this is Lunchables. Look, it's watery. I can't even look at that. With 400 milligrams.
There were two things about this launch and promotion that fans were upset about. One is the fact that Logan, KSI, and MrBeast were leveraging their child audience to sell a slightly better version of an extremely processed meal, which is ultimately still unhealthy for kids. The second issue was their lazy marketing strategy, which seemed to basically be to rip off the Lunchables concept and claim it to be slightly healthier by making comparisons on the ingredients. In reality, whether the Lunchly is healthier than the Lunchables is debatable, or at the very best, it's way too small of an improvement to make any significant health benefits for kids. Sports doctor Brian Stutter quoted Logan's comparison by pointing out how electrolyte figures were misleading, saying, "Sodium getting rebranded as electrolytes will be taught in marketing textbooks one day." Logan Paul's response was to insult Brian, tweeting, "Crazy how even a sports medicine doctor can't tell the difference between sodium and potassium. The reference 400 mg of electrolytes is the potassium in prime, you idiot." Brian, who is the expert here, then went further to make the clarification in his video.
Lunchable and how much better it was with all these electrolytes. I made this little joke about sodium getting rebranded as electrolytes because that's really what's happened. We've taken things like sodium, potassium that historically have been thought of in a very respectable fashion, something you have to do respectable amounts of and be cautious with, is now just considered electrolytes, and it's this big, positive, amazing thing all the time. That more electrolytes are good, and that is the fundamental problem here in the lack of misunderstanding with electrolytes and hydration that has frankly gotten out of control with just this electrolyte hydration beverage market. Yes, there's no doubt that our bodies need proper amounts of electrolytes to function. Electrolytes are crucial. Things like sodium, potassium, chloride, calcium, magnesium, for the function of literally almost everything in our body, muscles, nerves. You have to have proper levels of all those electrolytes. If they become too high, you have problems. If they become too low, you have problems. Generally speaking, our bodies do a very, very good job of managing the proper balance of electrolytes. We shouldn't have to rely on external supplementation of electrolytes beyond our food for just normal daily healthy function. And that's part of my initial argument here. You don't need to drink electrolyte drinks just as part of daily life. There is no reason that you should be consuming Gatorade, Liquid IV, Prime, Body Armor, any of these electrolyte drinks. They're not necessary for your average, regular, healthy person to just sit and have for lunch, dinner, breakfast, or as a snack. I'm not a hypocrite though. I've had my fair share of these at times with meals, but I'm saying when you're trying to advertise and market it as something that is like okay or better to have a bunch of electrolytes, that's where I think you have to be really careful and make sure people have the right impression. If we look at the ingredients...
It gets even worse as another doctor debunks the comparison that the three YouTubers make between Lunchly and Lunchables.
For a kid. Lunchly has slightly less sodium and saturated fat than comparable Lunchables. That's definitely moving in the right direction, however both differences were fairly small. Lunchly does use real cheese as opposed to cheese product, signaling that at least one ingredient is less processed than in Lunchables, but the entirety of the kit is still considered an ultra-processed meal. Lunchly has higher amounts of A and B vitamins, which can be good, but also can be problematic as vitamin A is a fat-soluble vitamin, and kids can easily overconsume it, leading to toxicity. Being that it's fat-soluble means that you can't just urinate excess out. This has actually been raised as an issue by experts with Prime in general. The reason why? Well, let's look at the recently passed nutrition standards set forth by the USDA for school lunches and see how Lunchly compares. Going line by line here. Less than 10% of calories should come from saturated fat. Lunchly turkey, 23% of calories come from saturated fat. Less than 10% of calories should come from added sugars. Lunchly turkey, 10.4 comes from added sugars. But this is where things get really interesting, and for some reason no one has pointed this out. You see, USDA caloric guidelines say that a lunch meal for kids K through 8 should contain around 625 calories. Kids need energy to function, and calories give them that energy. Lunchly turkey contains only 230 calories, which would mean a kid would need to eat about 2.7 portions to consume enough calories. And if they did that, they'd get nearly 1,300 milligrams of sodium, which is also significantly over the USDA standards. So they'd be either under-eating calories or overeating sodium. Finally, the grain guidelines state that 80% of lunch meals must be whole grain, and Lunchly turkey does not list any whole grain ingredients. It's clear Lunchly, just like Lunchables, misses the mark too many times to be considered meaningfully healthier, at least in my opinion.
Then things went from bad to worse when an OG YouTuber chipped in to criticize the trio. DanTDM tweeted, "What happened to YouTubers, man? I can't not say anything anymore. This is selling stuff for the sake of making money. Simple. How does this benefit their fans? This is selling crap to kids who don't know better than to trust the people who are selling it to them. Do better. This one tweet caused all three of Logan Paul, MrBeast, and KSI to crash out. Between the three of them, they generated 3 tweets and 2 videos, all in response to this one tweet from DanTDM. Starting with MrBeast, who responded by stating that a lot of things have now been countered by doctors, as we've already seen. He said, Lunchables sells hundreds of millions of units and countless people eat it. Our goal is to give people a better for you alternative to it. Our turkey meal, for example, is 80 less calories, 60% less sugar, more electrolytes. We use real cheese, they use cheese product, higher quality meat, etc. Obviously, eating fresh chicken and broccoli is healthier, but if someone is going to eat a pre-made meal like this, then I think giving them a higher quality version at roughly the same price is a net good in my opinion, and why we launched Lunchly. Also, as we get economies of scale, we can get things cheaper, we will only be improving this product more and more. Again, this defense doesn't hold much water because as we've seen, the difference in health benefits between the two is too small and misleading to justify the existence of Lunchly. Plus, people who have bought the meal and tasted it have found it to be pretty terrible.
Here's my honest review of Lunchly. This like watered cheese, pasteurized cheese sauce that is the same skin tone as my skin. It's gross, okay? I don't know if it's just me, I don't know if I'm biased to cheese. It's gross. What I will say though about this salsa, it's not salsa. It's literally tomato puree, like paste. It has sliced tomatoes, tomato paste, puree. It's not even salsa. It just tastes like metal, like tomato soup, but paste. And then these chips, I guess for like a little baby, it's fine. But like when I was a kid, like specifically 8, this is 1 bite for me, okay? Now, if I wanted to fill myself up, I would be eating like a quarter per bite. As a food product, this is processed garbage. The pizza is genuinely disgusting. This hockey puck of a tortilla, I mean, I don't know if tortillas normally smell like this, but it genuinely smells like a sock. And then the sauce is literally ketchup with like a little bit more pepper.
But MrBeast's response may actually be the best of the 3 as Logan Paul directly responded to DanTDM with a tweet saying, I'll tell you what happened to YouTubers. We spent our lives creating content and building our brands. Now we want to build businesses. You don't say anything when Lunchables faces bans for allegedly containing lead, but when we create a better version you're upset? Then don't eat it. It's a very bad response considering the fact that nobody was criticizing him for building a brand, but were criticizing him for making a terrible product, which is fair. On top of that, as we mentioned before, as the years go by and the number of deplorable business practices that Logan's associated with goes up, his reputation will just automatically get worse and worse and people will stop giving him the benefit of the doubt, which is exactly what happened here. Following this tweet, Logan Paul would go on to have a Twitter war with community notes and still continues to spiral. KSI, on the other hand, had probably the worst response to this criticism out of the 3 of them. He quoted Dan's tweet, posting pictures of his toy from many years ago with the caption, "Looks like crap to me." This was a bad move as DanTDM is quite beloved by even KSI's most loyal fans. All of his replies were getting ratioed and community noted. Not only did KSI also make a toy from the same toy company, so calling it trash doesn't make any sense, but he also tried to trap DanTDM for accepting sponsorship from a candy brand from over 9 years ago. None of these replies were sticking and KSI was looking worse with each new tweet. On the 25th of September, KSI made yet another tweet responding to the DanTDM tweet 1 whole week after it came out, saying, "Some dumbass YouTuber said this exact same thing to me the other day. Rather than complaining, crying, and trying to cancel a YouTuber for creating a product, here's an idea. If you don't want or like a product, just don't buy it. Simple." And that's not even the worst of it. Quite bafflingly, he decided to make a video going over the whole thing and responding to the same tweet. 50% of the video was just him pretending to laugh and repeating the same things he said on Twitter. At the end, he concludes that people just hate him for no reason and that they all just have low IQ.
Treyhan, really sweet. Where was the same energy when FaZe Rogue? Really sweet. Now, I'm not throwing them under the bus because I tried both of their sweets and it's fantastic. It's actually one of the best sweets I've had in a long time, especially American sweets. It's a shame that, I can't even get it in England. But anyway, I'm not seeing people going crazy towards them on Twitter. You know why? I've realized why. It's because people just hate us. People just hate us. People hate Logan Paul, okay? They hate MrBeast and they hate me on Twitter, okay? When it comes to Twitter, Twitter is just a cesspool of the most depressed people on this earth. It's like 4chan, but worse. It's like 4chan, but with lower IQ. That is what Twitter is, and that's one of the reasons why I had to leave, because I just felt like...
Logan Paul made a response video of his own. because apparently he was still annoyed by all of this. And he basically echoed everything KSI said and doubled down. He insulted DanTDM and tried to pass off his position as Dan just being annoyed that they made crackers.
Imagine being a motherfucker who's angry that we made this. Crackers, bro? You mad cause we made crackers? This is what you're mad about? Bruh. It's a turkey, real cheese, and cracker stack.
Then he went the same route as KSI by simply claiming that all the detractors are just people who hate him.
I'm not seeing people going crazy towards them on Twitter. You know why? It's because people just hate us.
That's it. People just hate us. And I've come to realize now in my adult life that hate really is just a feeling of one's own inadequacy. You're dissatisfied with your life, you're unhappy, you're angry because your wife left you, or you suck. You might as well go hate on a cracker stack.
At the end of the day, the whole situation isn't really a big deal. 3 big YouTubers making a mediocre kid's lunch pack should never draw this much attention. But the reason for all the noise is just the utter lack of authenticity. What we have here is 3 greedy YouTubers who are trying to profit off of their audience and not knowing how to do it in a dignified manner. Add that to the multiple examples of all 3 men repeatedly being controversial, and it becomes pretty clear why their egos are so fragile.